Beautiful blue skies over the city of Beijing, the capital of the People's Republic of China. This is day 4 of the 5-day, 4th year of the Tour of Beijing, the final cycle race of the World Tour Series for the 2014 season. I'm Phil Liggett and welcome along. Well, today is the day as far as the riders are concerned, because we go right into the mountains with a mountaintop finish on this 4th stage between Yanqing and Miaofeng Mountain, 157 kilometers. And as always at the start, we're being treated to a little bit of tradition as well as some new recruits to the Chinese culture. The riders assembling as they have done for the last couple of days in the city of Yanqing, and we're staying just to the north and northwest of the city of Beijing for just one more day before tomorrow this race will end outside some of the famous iconic venues of the 2008 Olympic Games here in China. It's turning out to be a very, very close race at the top, with Philippe Gilbert defending his race lead yesterday. He's held the leadership on the 2 days now and leading by just 5 seconds over the South African rider Jonser van Rensburg, 7 seconds over Rui Costa, the former world champion, and everybody now poised for a big battle up the final climb of the day, which is 12 kilometers right to the summit of the Miaofeng Mountain Temple. It's going to be a tough day, but it's a beautiful day. Clear blue skies, and who would have thought only 48 hours ago the riders protesting about the air purities. That's all gone now. It's a crisp late autumn day. The pandas are in evidence here, the endangered species here in China, and the Garmin Sharp team, well, they've patronised the panda now and support the World Wildlife Foundation. Riders signing in here for what they know is the decisive day. Everybody knows that the man that wears the red jersey by the end of this day should be the winner. And Philippe Gilbert, he hopes it's him. Has a big battle on his hand. He's not a pure climber, but he said he'll give it his best shot. He knows which men to really look out for. Dan Martin, the rider who finished second last year to Benya Intausti, but Intausti, the defending champion, out of the hunt, lost 18 minutes on the opening day of this race. A smiling Tyler Farrar, the American, winning yesterday at the Chaoyang Temple and getting his first win in over 12 months. His job now, though, is in the service of this man, Dan Martin, who hopes that by the end of this day he'll be the next wearer of the red jersey. He finished second overall in this race last year, losing it by just 10 seconds. Team Sky still have a hope too, with David Lopez, who finished third last year, and the Orica Green Edge boys signing in. They'll look to their young member of the squad, the young Colombian Johan Chavez Rubio. And as all the teams sign in, expect an attack too from Omega Pharma Quickstep. They still have a good rider in Rigoberto Urán. And that's him signing in. That's as they look up Carlos Bentancur there, just about reaching the top of the sign-in sheet. 130 riders left in the race of the 135 that took the start 4 days ago. And so far, all of the racing done to the north and northwest of the city of Beijing, by up to 3 hours away by car. Tomorrow they'll be right in the centre, starting from Tiananmen Square and finishing in the shadow of the Bird's Nest Stadium. But today they know this race should be decided in the mountains. For the 2nd year running, we're using Miaofeng Mountain, and it is on this climb the riders know seconds will be won and lost. Well, this is last year's winner trying to sign in as number 2, because he's lost his number 1 status by losing 18 minutes, and that is Intausti. Let's have a look at the route itself as we start again from Yanqing. This time, though, we're dropping south rather than going north and northwest as we go nearer to the city of Beijing, but we stay in the mountains, and we have a number of climbs, 6 decisive climbs of the day, the last one being the big one that takes us up to the finishing line, and the riders then heading down to Beijing for the overnight before the final stage. Total distance 157 kilometers. Adam Hansen thinking perhaps of a trip home to Australia after this, about the closest he's been all year to his home country. All set to go. Well, no complaints about the weather and the purified air here on this occasion, because it is absolutely superb today. Chilly at the start, and on top of the mountain it's only approximately 5 degrees at dawn today, warming up gently though. Downtown Yanqing it's a little bit warmer than that. The riders heading out towards the start, zipping up for the long ride ahead, the Belking riders here. In the green jersey now, that's the points leader, the second most important leader's jersey in this race, worn by Tyler Farrar, having taken the lead by a single point yesterday by winning the stage as a sprinter over Luka Mecic. The ride out of town is over, the flag is in, and the race is underway. And nobody in any much of a hurry here to get out to the start of the race, because they know the sting in the tail will decide the day. Bit of a tight fit there. Well, everybody commented on the beauty of China yesterday. Well, today I think might be even better. This national park, which abounds to the north and northwest of China, simply superb. And a breakaway establishing soon after the start, but not before Luka Mecic had taken the time bonus sprint at 12 kilometers into the race. That gave him 5 points, and now he's back in the lead by a single point in the green jersey competition. So that race is assured to go down to the finishing line tomorrow, when the sprinters will have their say again down outside the bird's nest. So a big finale assured in the green jersey competition now. But who's going to take the red? And that is the big question to the centre of Beijing tomorrow. These 4 riders getting clear on the day included Graham Brown from the Belking team. He is an Australian. Boris Valle of Lotto Belisol, a Belgian cyclist, but he's 23 minutes behind overall. He sits at the back of this group of 4 just at the moment. Julian Vermont, another Belgian cyclist, driving the pace in the Omega Pharma Quick-Step colours. And the 4th member is Guillaume Bauvin of the Cannondale team, Canadian rider at the front at the moment. Well, they've had over 4 minutes, but that has been reduced because the chase is beginning behind now as we get through the hills and the riders are starting to think of that final climb. It's a battle of seconds, and that's the most important thing to remember, with a 10-second bonus awarded to the man that wins the stage, and a 6-second bonus for the second place rider, and a 4-second bonus for third. This race can be won and lost literally on the finishing line today, because 24 of these riders in the race are separated by just 11 seconds. So there'll be a lot of cat and mouse riding by the team leaders at the moment. And the rider on the front here in the black, Julian Vermont, he himself is only 21 seconds behind overall after 3 and a bit days of racing. And he knows if he were to win the 10-second bonus, well, it's logistically possible, because he would only have to finish some 10 seconds ahead as well at the finish. We'll see. Information coming through here. Graham Brown just sat at the back here. He's got good memories of the Olympic Games, not the ones that were here in 2008 in Beijing, but the ones that were in Athens in 2004. He won 2 gold medals for his country, Australia. Now he's a road racing cyclist of some success. He sat at the back. He's not a climber, and he'd be the first one to tell you that if you could speak to him. And he's not happy on these short climbs today at all. Julian Vermont just dropping to the back for a little bit of a break. He is a good climber and won the 6th stage of the Tour of Britain in the United Kingdom not too long ago, last month, and from a small breakaway as well, so maybe a case of deja vu today for him. The peloton have ridden very sensibly today, showing a lot of respect for the undulations around this national area. Beautiful road surface, making it a fast climb every time they go up. 6 climbs is the order of the day. That means at least 60 cents, but there isn't any flat road really at all. And as always in professional racing, the team that has the race leader on the squad have to do the work at the front, and that's the case for Team BMC. They're protecting the red jersey of Philippe Gilbert, very similar to his team colours. You might pick him out, you can't see him at the moment. There's no black flashes on the epaulets of the jersey on the red leader's jersey, so you might spot him. Now, significant to note here that this is the team of Dan Martin, Garmin Sharp, and they're taking second order. Even their sprinter in the green jersey there, Tyler Farrar, the winner yesterday, riding number 4. So clearly he's now riding in the services of Dan Martin. On to the next climb of the day here. It's only a small third category climb, but a long drag nonetheless, and that 4:minute 15 lead has been chopped back to 2 minutes and 48. That's to be expected at this stage of the race. Julien Vermont will keep up the pressure though in the front with only a 21-second overnight deficit. He's still the leader of this race on the road. Still a large peloton too, of the 130 that took the start this morning. Take account of the 4 up front. There's still 126 in that bunch. Boivin comes to the back, the Canadian rider. He actually leaves the team this year and rides for a new team next year, Optum. And there may have been a victim there, Guillaume Boivin, of the merging of his team, which is Cannondale, with the American team, Garmin Sharp. New name to be revealed in the off-season, which isn't too far away now. But sadly, some of the riders weren't able to maintain their contracts. 2 World Tour teams coming in as one next year. So Boivin riding very well, but at the top of this climb, it's being left here to the teammate of the King of the Mountains leader, Michael Golash, as Julien Vermont is first over the top. Now he's taking the points, he doesn't need them for himself, but he's stopping the others getting them. And at this moment in time, Michael Golash, his teammate, who rode so well yesterday and won 6 of the 7 designated climbs to take the lead, is now virtually assured of victory in the King of the Mountains competition. That ends today because there's no hills whatsoever on the last stage in the centre of Beijing. So Golash in charge as far as he's concerned, and he's back in that field. If you can spot him, you'll pick him out. It's a white jersey with red spots as leader of the King of the Mountains. Looks as though you have a nasty case of measles. The peloton still being escorted by BMC. You can almost hear these riders thinking simply by the way they form in the peloton. Just behind the teammates of Philippe Gilbert, you've got all of Garmin Sharp. They're looking after Dan Martin, that's their job. Now you've got the black jerseys arriving at the front of Team Sky. They're looking after David Lopez, who rode to 3rd place on this finishing climb last year, and as a result finished 3rd overall in the event. So they're going to look after him. You've also got in there too the pink sleeve jerseys of Lampre, and they're rather hoping for a top performance from the former world champion Rui Costa, and Costa finished 4th in this race a year ago. Well, there's a definite increase in the tempo at the front now. It's just about reflecting on the lead. It's at 2:42 at this minute in time. Still 55 kilometers to race. The last climb before we go on to the finishing climb is topped out at 32 kilometers from the finish, and the last climb itself is approximately 12 kilometers long. Not a lot of respite on the climb as we come into the Miaofeng Park. Beautiful expanse, and all the flora and fauna totally protected, of course. It's been a good strong breakaway this. It's not been what we often refer to as the early morning breakaway. These boys have a real chance, and Julien Vermont knows it. It's a very good tactic too by Vermont's team, Omega Pharma Quickstep, one of the best teams at this season. As there he is, he's looking around his pocket for a little bit of food here. The fact is that Vermont, having attacked early on, is now causing the race to chase him, because only 21 seconds off the lead, virtual leader on the road, has taken the pressure off his team back here as well for their potential final leader in Rigoberto Urán. Right at the front here, Boris Valle in the red. He's the young man of the breakaway. He's only 21 years of age. He's lost 23 3/4 minutes in the 3 days of racing thus far, but he's learning his trade, and at 21 he can look forward to at least 10 more years as a top flight professional. The railway track. How do they build these tracks as they skirt around the edges of these high mountains? We finished today at approximately 1,200 meters above sea level, and the view around from the temple itself is absolutely stunning. Approaching 40 kilometers now from the finish line here. 8 kilometers from the top of the second category climb, the Dongfanghong, which is the last climb before the climb to the finish. BMC have sent more riders to the front to try and keep the pace respectable. And I must say that Philippe Gilbert, he did say last night after he kept his lead that he would do his best to keep the lead at the end of this day. He knows he hasn't got the climbing talent of some of the riders in this field, but one thing that's very much in favour with the Belgian cyclist is he knows how to hurt himself and perform at this level. When I have seen him in the front of the peloton, he's always in the top 15-20 riders, while he's got his team setting the pace, controlling the race. Carlos Betancourt, number 14, had a little go yesterday as we ran towards the finish. Didn't work out for him, but it was the first time he'd been at the front of the race since it started, and it looks as though he's now gone back to his week-long position of being near the back. He's a tired man, I think, after a very good season. Started winning in March in the Paris-Nice race, which is the race from Paris in France right down to the Côte d'Azur, the south of France. It's called the race to the sun because you start usually in the cold and wet of Paris and you finish in the warm sunshine of the south of France. That's the theory. And here is a man who knows all about sun, and that is the only professional cyclist from Namibia, Dan Craven there. The gentle giant. He cuts quite a vicious character with his new full facial beard, but I can tell you that man is about as meek and mild as they come. Softly spoken and ultra polite when he's not racing a bike. Just about 2 kilometers from the top of the climb. This is for the race. It is showing signs of fragmenting, this breakaway now. A little bit of a slow reaction by Valet in the red. Graham Brown will not be happy on this terrain. He's struggling a little bit here. While Julian Vermont, not surprisingly, with the man with the most to gain, is driving. And I think this latest move has cracked Brown. The man from Perth in Australia is losing ground. Both of his gold medals coming in Athens on the track in the team pursuit, where you have 3 teammates on the track at the same time, and during that occasion he broke the world record with his 3 teammates for the 4,000 metre pursuit, clocking 4 kilometres in 3 minutes and 56.610 seconds. Unbelievable. But that's not the same as riding up a hill with 34 kilometres to go. So his job is done for the day. He's going to slip back to the field and he'll have a problem holding it on the run up to the finishing line. There's a long fast descent from the top of this climb, sweeps down to the valley, and then they climb up to the finish. The other two have regrouped here. Julian Vermont knows that the gap is coming down, but knows that he still has a chance. He's not going to ease up at this point. Well taken win last month in the Tour of Britain in the United Kingdom. He broke away from the front group and he held everybody off to win the day. Vermont may be, not Vermont, Boris Valet may be struggling a little bit at the back of that group. Let's have a look at the back of the peloton. As we move along the road now to 21 kilometers, the front riders are still together. The peloton thinned a little bit, but not by much. There's still not the pressure needed to break this field up. That's going to come very soon though. We turn into the gates at just on 20 kilometers from the summit. The climb starts a little bit further into the park. The cyclists from Beijing have been riding up the mountain on their mountain bikes and their road racing bikes all day to watch the riders see how they conquer it. This is the man with ambition, Rigoberto Urán from Eager Farmer Quick-Step. He won't do anything while his teammate's still up the road in Julian Vermont. Maybe this will be the final lull, because riders taking the chance to reposition in the big pack. There is the polka dot jersey, and at this stage of the race he knows now he has won that competition, and in the next 40 minutes or so he'll be crowned the champion of the mountains in the Tour of Beijing. Mikhail Golash. Now a big change of authority at the front now, because this is the setup by Ryder Hezjedal on the front and by Team Garmin Sharp. Nathan Haas coming through, as well as Steele von Hoff, and the last man on the string is Dan Martin. This is where he made his bid to win the race a year ago, and he lost it, crossing the finish line 3 seconds too late to win the event, and finally losing by 10 seconds when bonus time was taken into account. The man that beat him on that occasion is in the peloton, but 18 minutes behind overall this time through, Benya Intausti. 16 kilometers to go. We're on the climb. It's still a long way to the summit. It'll get steeper here. These three riders still together: Boivin, Valle, Vermotte. Vermotte doing all of the work, anxious to try and keep that fielder's bay. If he can just get to the line with a handful of seconds, he'll take the lead in the race. He knows it. The team car wants to shout and encourage him. That's actually the team car of Boivin Cannondale, all the same colour, different names. Now we've gone down to the back of the peloton here, and the Garmin Sharp rider Tyler Farrer, he rode extremely well at the front as they entered the climb. Almost touched the wheel there too. He's now slipped to the back. All he wants to do is to get through now to the finishing line. His job done for his team. Graham Brown is still there. He's right at the back now, having been caught by the pack. Just these three riders left, but the gap is just over a minute. It would not surprise me in the least if Vermotte, the man in the black, is going to make an attack here. That would be the obvious thing to do. He's got the most to gain, because Boris Valle is 23 minutes behind, and Boivin is a minute 46. He's still a danger, but his riding in the mountains today has moved him up into second place in that competition, and that is where I think he'll finish. There are 12 points available on the finishing line in the mountains, but I suspect those riders will not be in front, because look at the pace going on here. Now the pink jerseys coming through in the centre, they carry Rui Costa on their squad, and they're trying to set up the former world champion here. He rode so well on this climb a year ago, finished fourth. Dan Martin's team keeping the pace high. And this really heavy pacemaking by the team Garmin Sharp, with a little bit of help from Katusha and Sky in the black, has thinned this peloton out. It looks a lot from this low camera angle, but in fact the riders at the back are dropping off quite quickly now. They're realizing that if it's not going to be their day, they're not going to go to the top in the pack. They're going to ride home behind the race. 65 seconds. Is it possible? Vermotte still keeping up a fast tempo, wants no help from anybody now. It looks to me as though Boivin is cracking here. He's gritting his teeth. The gap is opening. This is a push by Julien Vermotte, and he's gone. Boivin has cracked. I don't think there's going to be a reaction either from Boris Valle. They know the field is just over a minute back. And at this point in time, it's now a matter of whether Julien Vermotte can still win this race. At this moment in time, as he goes for gold on his own, he's still the virtual leader of the Tour of Beijing. 13 kilometers out. Whether he can hold the field off for 13 kilometers on a climb that kicks a little bit steeper than this, levels slightly, kicks again up towards the finish. This has been an excellent plan by Omega Pharma Quickstep. In many people's eyes, the team of the 2014 season, the team from Belgium. They've won over 70 races this year of various disciplines, cyclocross as well as road racing and time trialing. And now they're trying to steal this race on the penultimate day, but the biggest climb. The top of your picture, the lonely figure of Vermotte, creeping around the side of the mountain. What's left of the peloton looks to be about 45 riders just now. Meanwhile, at the back here, it's goodbye to Tyler Farrer. From the joys of winning yesterday now to just sweeping up and getting up to the finishing line. Watch out for him again tomorrow, though. He'll go head-to-head, I'm sure, with Luka Mecic in that battle for that green jersey, which tomorrow will be worn by Mecic. Now we're beginning to open up the tentative attacks here, and this is to try and soften up Dan Martin. They haven't caught Julian Vermont yet. These are the other two. They've got them. So there's only one rider left in front right now. Double take there by Boris Valle to see who's coming. It's about 35 riders just at the moment. Wavan really is hurting just now. He's been in the front, he's done well in the mountains, he's put himself in second in that competition. That's where he'll finish. And that's his only consolation, because he's now going to struggle to hold on to this race, I think. Team Sky getting control again. David Lopez is the man they hope will have the strength to go with any move that comes. We are getting closer and closer to the finish all of the time. And it's because the race is covered by a blanket, 11 seconds covering 24 riders, that they're all holding each other so well here. And that small bonus of 10 seconds at the top is beginning to look quite attractive to a lot of riders in this field. Well, this again is another attack, and it's coming this time from Lotto Belisol. Louis Verveek, first-year professional at this level of cycling, trying to get clear of the field. And at the moment, they're allowing him to run. Now, he is a danger, and he's not well known to the riders in this race either. He started the day 25 seconds off the race lead. Verveek coming up, going straight by the rider from Omega Pharma Quickstep. Well, is this youthful enthusiasm, or is this a very, very serious attack by the first-year pro? I think if you ask him, it's a serious attack. And the peloton a little bit perplexed by this. They're not too sure who he is for a start. They may not even know where he is overall. 25 seconds behind Philippe Gilbert is the answer. As we continue to wind our way through the woods, the autumn tints all around us here. Beautiful, beautiful day. Still time on the side of the main field, but pedaling very stylishly indeed. Another one of the young bloods of the future, now showing himself at the end of a long season, his first full season as a professional on the World Tour squads. So he comes up through the gap here, Verveek. I'm afraid it's not the time to look over your shoulder, because that pack in your double take now, he suddenly found they've reacted to his move. It's Team Sky who's done it. Maybe launching David Lopez, the Spanish rider. A gap of 7 seconds is not enough. And the legs look at this stage to be just knotting up a bit. It's hurting now. Could have been Omega Pharma Quickstep has put themselves on the front. And life at the back is a bit unpleasant. And as you can see, the peloton now, maybe 25-30 riders left. That's all. Still plenty of riding to be done. And still no move coming from either Dan Martin or Rui Costa, the two most likely riders to attack. Philippe Gilbert's one ambition today is not to attack, it's to hang on and take that red jersey into Beijing tomorrow. Gilbert is one of the few top cyclists to come from the Walloon area of Belgium, which is the French-speaking part of a country which has 3 national languages, German, French and Flemish. The rider in blue there is rider Hejjedal, sitting about 5 men back. He's going to be a very valuable man for Dan Martin, the Canadian cyclist who won the Giro d'Italia a couple of years ago. First Canadian, and indeed the only Canadian to win the Giro d'Italia. So after nearly 4 days of racing, this race has really come down to this one climb, with so many riders protecting their position for the last 3 days. For the moment, the red jersey of Philippe Gilbert and his teammates had disappeared. Gilbert is there, but he's on his own now. I don't see any of his teammates with him at the moment. He's about 10 men down, maybe a little bit more than that. Well, this high-speed tempo riding, there's no rider can attack if they maintain speeds like this. It's just simply too fast. What it is doing, of course, is shredding the riders off the back of the group. There's a lot of riders here in desperate trouble at the moment. Kuchenkov is the rider from Katusha on the back just now. Ignitenko just in front of him. Both look as though they're not going to be there for much longer. And this is a sad sight because this is the rider who won on this climb a year ago and won the race overall, Benyat Intausti. Well, he wasn't kidding when he lost 18 minutes on that first day. He really has run out of form for the 2014 season, and now he's not going to be in contention even for the day's victory. Gone from the back of the race. And this is an attack, and this looks to me as though it is rider Hejerdal who's accelerated from the front of the race. Sky have altered their tempo. Now this isn't just a move to pave the way for Dan Martin, because rider Hejerdal is in the same group as Dan Martin overall, the 11-second bunch, which contains 19 riders, 11 seconds off the race lead. Hejerdal is a serious move to win this race for himself, and quite frankly Martin would not be disappointed in that. A teammate taking victory while they all watch Martin. Hejerdal slips away. That's possibly the thinking here. And if anybody can do it, it's this tall man, and he climbs exceptionally well for a tall rider, rider Hejerdal. Comes from Vancouver in Canada, which has a slightly milder winter than the rest of Canada, which is all covered in snow. This is a very good, strong move, this. Hejerdal going to give this one his best shot. Not only was he the first North American to win the Giro d'Italia, he was also the first North American to win stages of the Vuelta a España. And he also got his latest stage win in the Vuelta a España at this time as well. So he's riding extremely well here. 2 stage wins for him in the Tour of Spain over history. Settling down now, made the initial surge. Seen there's not a big reaction. This doesn't look good at the back because rider number 3 is Jesus Herrada, the top young rider in the race, and looking to be in trouble. He can't handle his latest acceleration. It's a rider who is lying 5th in the race, and a good scalp if they can get rid of him. He's gritting his teeth. He's almost on his limit here, I think, Jesus Herrada. And this is the rider causing the problem. It's a pretty good name for a cyclist, rider, isn't it? Rider Hejerdal at the front. I will be concerned about this move. Remember, he starts the day 11 seconds behind. There's 10 seconds for the win. He only has to finish a second ahead to be the next leader of the race. And as these riders all believe, the man that takes the red jersey tonight wins it tomorrow in Beijing. It's unrelenting, this climb now. It does have some nasty little kicks in it too, of around 8%. The peloton, maybe 20 riders left now. And the red jersey there, number 34. That is the man who is hoping to keep that red jersey, and at 5 kilometers to go, he's still in a very good position, Philippe Gilbert. He'll be pleased with the way he's climbing, and he will know how his body's speaking back to him now at this stage of the race. But can he handle the attacks that's got to come if they catch this rider? There'll be no attacks from Dan Martin just yet. This is his teammate here, trying for the win for the team. It's an excellent diversion, and it's a good gap. They've just come through the village here, which is just 5 kilometers from the summit, and had they looked to the left, high up in the sky, they would have seen the finish line, because the temple towers over the village. And that little camera shot we were showing you there was actually from the grounds of the temple itself, which stands at just on 1,200 meters. Well, this is a counter-attack here, and this is Ricardo Zoidl of Austria, and a very nice little move it is as well. But this is going to cause a reaction that Hejidal doesn't want, that's for sure. Good acceleration by the champion of Austria. First time he's won the title this year, won it in June. Hejidal to the left on our picture here as we race through the autumn tints of the mountain. The peloton look as though they're recovering here, starting to close in. And this looks as though it might well be another rider coming up from Omega Pharma Quickstep as well. And it'll be Peter Seri, I think, who's bridged the gap. That puts two of them. 10 seconds, the spread, they say there. Well, it's very unusual to get a helicopter to block your picture when you're watching a bicycle race, but we've got one there, and right underneath the two riders here chasing this one man. You have to take your hat off to rider Hejidal here. He's trying to win the race, yes, but he's also causing a brilliant diversion to protect Dan Martin, who will not have any reason to alter the move until they pick up Hejidal. Then he'll have to go, he'll have no choice. And it looks as though Peter Seri, the Belgian cyclist, I once saw Seri sitting on the side of the road in Greater Palm Springs 2 years ago in the Tour of California, where temperatures were hitting 39 degrees Celsius, and he couldn't get on his bike to cross the finishing line. He was actually having sunstroke on the climb called the Mountain Tramway. He did get on his bike in the end though, but from the finishing line I think it took him 45 minutes to cover the last 200 meters, but he finished. Now he's trying to get across with Zoidl, but the group has reacted here, very much so. Still a good show of defiance this, and really hurting the chase. Great piece of riding by rider Hejidal, and look how small that peloton is now. But the big news is that Philippe Gilbert is still there in that group. The non-climber, the man who's afraid of the pure climbs. At 2 kilometers to go, this is beginning to look very, very serious now for Dan Martin. Rider Hejidal, can he just hold on? He only needs a 1 second gap on the field at the finishing line to take the race lead. That's all. He gets the 10-second win bonus. Of course, if the riders close to him snatch the second or third place bonuses, then he'll need a bigger gap. He'll need 7 seconds, or he'll need a little bit more. 3 seconds if it's a third place for that man there. Gilbert still looking as though he's full of fight. Got the lead on day 2 on top of a small climb which was brought into the race when the race was reduced 36 kilometers from the finish because of the impurities in the air. And the irony was that those impurities were well gone by the time we finished the race, but the decision had been taken to end 36 kilometers from the finish, and the finish suited Gilbert, whereas the real finish wouldn't have done because it was a sprinter's finish down in Yanqing. And so Gilbert won and got the red jersey, and now he has a real chance here to keep it to the finish. Hejidal checking out where they are. He knows he doesn't need a huge gap, he just needs time. Well, he's not going to get that time, is he? Because they're closing right in on him. Heading up towards the last kilometre to go now. A very select group, maybe 12, 15 riders coming up to the Canadian rider. Now there must be another attack, and Dan Martin, his teammate, is lining up there at the head of that group. Hejidal looking at them through on the inside now. Watch out for a move. That's Samuel Sanchez on the front, who has happy days racing on Chinese roads, not too far away from here. He won the Olympic gold medal in the road race in 2008. Now he's in the service of the man who leads this race. How times change. Philippe Gilbert. And Samuel Sanchez trying to wind it up now. Gilbert is still in this group. The red jersey as we continue up the line. Dan Martin now wipes his face, grits his teeth. He's got to go. He's got to leave this group. And he's got to get a time bonus as well to have any chance whatsoever of winning this race overall tomorrow. Gilbert is glued to this peloton. Terrific piece of pacemaking by his teammate Sam Sanchez. And that's Chavez in the white jersey. Esteban Chavez, the young Colombian rider, his first year as a World Tour rider. Had a stage win in the Tour of Switzerland in the month of June this year, and also a stage win in the Tour of California. Watching every move here. Well, Sanchez doing a brilliant job for Philippe Gilbert, but Martin is warming up. Watch this now, because Dan Martin here is thinking of a move. He's got to go. He cannot wait any longer. He needs time. And he's only talking seconds, and that's the only reason he hasn't gone already. But is Sanchez going too fast here that Martin simply can't react? Rui Costa there in the pink top to his jersey. The little man, the little climber from Colombia, Chavez in between. Chavez riding for a high position. Remember, we have and there he goes. Martin is gone. Chavez round Sanchez like a rabbit. Gets onto the back wheel of the man in blue. Just about. And this is a veritable sprint up the mountain here, which is almost unthinkable. Dan Martin out of the saddle all the way, being chased by Chavez, who's just trying to hang on to his braces. Rui Costa is chasing, and that looks like Philippe Gilbert is going on the wheel of the last year's world champion. Two recent world champions locked together there in Gilbert and Costa. 300 metres now, the gap is not yet there, but it's opening. Dan Martin never sat down since he attacked. 200 metres to go. The time gap is opening. There's a 10-second win bonus. Chavez could be a big danger here. He's sat on his back wheel. Martin kicks again. Chavez looks round, a bad sign. It usually means he's unhitched. He is. And now Gilbert races up. He's gone over the top of Costa, but Dan Martin gets it. And possibly 2 seconds the gap. 10-second bonus. And you know, with Gilbert taking third and a small bonus, he might well have just held on to that red jersey. Well, that's a problem for the timekeepers. But what an incredible ride by Dan Martin as he goes through the finish here, right almost up to the door of the temple. He's made his bid, he's won his stage. And now he's going to turn round, and there's the arrival of Gilbert. Well, Gilbert's congratulating him here. And I'm wondering if he thinks he's lost the red jersey to Dan Martin. Let's have another look. Sanchez, the real hero as far as Gilbert is concerned. Gilbert's there, fifth wheel down the line. Martin goes, Sanchez looks the wrong way. Chavez jumps around, quickly gets onto the back wheel of Martin. And then Rui Costa, who finished fourth overall in this race last year. No sign of David Lopez. He hasn't had a good climb, despite the efforts by Team Sky to put him in the frame. And now, at that moment of the attack to the finishing line, I was about to say Dan Martin never sat down, but he just did momentarily. And he's gone again. And just around this straight here, watch the head of Chavez. He looked over his shoulder and immediately lost the wheel of Martin. At measurable time gap has opened, looks about 2 seconds. But watch the arrival right on the back wheel of Chavez of Philippe Gilbert, which means he gets the same time as Chavez. And he might have saved himself here. And there is the beautiful temple, and there is confirmation of the result. So it's a 2 second gap to Chavez, Philippe Gilbert. And Rui Costa in fourth place, as he was a year ago, at 2 seconds. And Arredondo in the fifth place. Well, what an incredible finish. Well, let's hear first of all from Dan Martin, and he can tell us how he did it.
Dan, second year in a row. It was a brave effort today. You won the stage, but maybe not the overall.
Yeah, obviously, just missed the overall with Philip hanging on there, but it's the way it is, you know. It's, I'm just happy to win a stage. I've been twice second in stages of this race and second overall last year, so it's nice to be able to win a stage.
Just take us through the tactic with Ryder going out. Did that hamper your GC ambitions in the end, because you couldn't obviously chase him down and he hung in for a long way?
No, not at all, because he made the race hard. Everybody had to chase him, and if they stopped chasing, he would have won the stage, you know. So unfortunately, it was headwind on the climb, so it was quite easy sitting on the wheel. I think if it had been tailwind, maybe Ryder would have just ridden away, and maybe it would have been harder for Philippe to stay in there. But the way it was quite easy sitting on the wheel, and that's why I had to wait until the sprint, you know, and just try and get enough time. But obviously Philippe was really super strong today. So
what's the emotion for you?
I'm just happy to win the stage. You know, the GC would have been a bonus, but the guys rode incredible all day, and all week in fact they've been riding incredible, and yeah, it's unfortunate to miss the GC, but yeah, obviously anything can happen tomorrow. But yeah, other than bad luck, I think Philip's got the GC, so I'm still happy with second place, you know.
All right, good effort. A lot of Chinese fans love watching your race here, and it's great to have you here.
Well, thank you. It's been great to be here. It's really, amazing scenery today again. I think everybody's seen how beautiful this country is, and yeah, it's always been a lot of fun, this race. It's my third time here, and I've enjoyed every year, and yeah, it's just a pity it's not continuing, but I'm sure it'll be back in the future.
All right, well on the win today.
Thank you.
Yes, the first time he came, he actually won the King of the Mountains title. Last year he finished second overall, and now he's back in that spot, second overall in this race with 1 day still to go. Dan Martin a little bit nonplussed about not actually taking the red jersey, but as we'll see, and there's one of his panda friends, because his team are full supporters of the world wildlife, and the panda of course is endangered. Let's have a look at the overall. Philippe Gilbert, he's held on by 3 seconds, and so he did well to snatch a small bonus. Dan Martin now in second, and Chavez becomes the best young rider. He now occupies third, and Da Costa in a familiar fourth place. But the man who has ridden out of his pants today, Philippe Gilbert, let's find out what he's got to say.
Philippe, one stage to go, 16 seconds on the road, so it's not over yet, but that was a wonderful effort from you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh well, we rode well again as a team. You know, we managed to get the right gap with the breakaway, so we were never in trouble. And then at the end, yeah, we let also the other teams walking, you know, because it was like 2 minutes 20, and we really had to go fast to close this gap. But I knew that if we came in this situation, they will also walk, because everyone had something to win today, and it's what happened. And this made the selection also in all of the teams. So I was not there with, I don't know, like with a team with 3 teammates or something. You know, it's like just like man against man, except for Garmin. And then yeah, in the final, it was very, very hard. But also Samu Sanchez did a great job, like he did already for me a few times this season. So yeah, I'm very thankful to him because he helped me a lot this season.
How much did you know about the final climb and how difficult it would be? Because it sort of levels out and then it kicks up again.
Yeah, I watched it like 2 times on YouTube, because you can find this movie on the internet, and then you know I learned something from this viewing, but you know it's never the same when you rode, you know. But I knew it was like the first 5-6K very hard, and then it's flat a little bit, so with 3-4%. But I did like the whole climb on the big chain ring, so it was okay. And then in the final, yeah, I gave everything in the sprint, and I don't know, it was very hard to close the gap to Martin, but yeah, he did a nice win.
So tomorrow, bonuses on the road still, but the team can control it. And it's not over, but you're in a very strong position to take the overall lead.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the situation is, because I just know now 1 minute ago that I'm still leader.
3 seconds.
3 seconds on Martin, I guess.
Yeah.
And third, I don't know.
Third is Chavez.
Yeah, so
9 seconds.
So, I mean, you never know. You can have a technical or something, but I'm in a safe position normally.
What would it mean to you to win the final World Tour race of the year, but also the last edition of the Tour of Beijing?
That's pretty special, because yeah, I'm happy to be here. At the beginning, I was thinking, I don't want to go there. You know, it's a long trip. The season has been long, and so on and so on. But now I'm there, and I enjoy the race. It's a nice country when the sky is clear, and no, it's a nice experience.
Well, you'll enjoy the day tomorrow, Tiananmen Square and around the Bird's Nest. It's a unique experience in cycling.
Yeah, everyone told me this. It's great, and to have this close on it for us, it's a big experience. It's a little bit like riding on the Champs-Élysées, I think, with a tour.
All right, we'll go and enjoy the presentation, the red jersey, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sure he is. Well, it's not often the interviewer becomes the interviewee, but that's what happened there, because in fact Philippe Gilbert didn't know until he just stepped up for that interview that he'd actually kept that red jersey by just 3 seconds. And he'd be very pleased to know that the riders behind him aren't recognised as sprinters. But there will be a battle tomorrow. And Philippe Gilbert knows his race isn't won yet, but he's 99% there. There'll be 12 laps of the circuit tomorrow before we finish outside the Bird's Nest Stadium, and Philippe Gilbert will be very, very close in attention on the race tomorrow. It's a stage of 117 kilometres. We hope you'll join us in the centre of Beijing for the end of the Tour of Beijing tomorrow. Goodbye.